All right, so I'm going to be doing a review of Namor, Last King of Atlantis. This was a comic sent to me by my friend Chris. Chris, thank you once again, brother. And yeah, so before we get started, a couple things. I'm not I wouldn't call myself a fan of Namor. I like him as a character, but also he's like one of the most inconsistent written characters ever. He's either a hero, villain, or just but all around asshole. Like we could all like every writer agrees asshole is what Namor is. Um, and that's what I think has been a consistent thing. But here's the thing: 9 times out of 10, Namor usually gets a really banger miniseries. The best one I've read is the Marvel Knights Namor: The Depths, which was written by Peter Milligan. It's a really great horror story. I did a review of it a couple of years back. It was really cool. So yeah, Namor has usually gotten really good miniseries. In fact, Chris also sent me another Namor miniseries called Namor Conquered Shores, and the reason why I wanted to read that one is because of it was written by Christopher Cantwell, who had done the Doctor Doom maxi series, and he also did a Thanos book, which I heard was really good. I haven't read a Thanos miniseries, so I haven't read that, but yeah. So the reason why I wanted to read this is because Jason Aaron. And Jason, for a multitude of reasons of why I think Jason Aaron was kind of the right guy to write a Namor miniseries, for a multitude of reasons. First and foremost being is that he really excels at singular characters. Say what you want, I don't give a shit, but I really like his Punisher maxi series, The King of Killers. I also really, of course, his Thor run is awesome. His Conan was pretty good. He does really well at singular characters. He's not great at teams. He's not great at ensemble casts, and so yeah, his Avengers run was pretty lackluster. But the other reason why I think he was the perfect guy to do a Namor comic was because the other thing Jason Aaron really excels on is like fantasy stories, and Namor himself is pretty fantastical. Again, with Thor and Conan, and Namor himself kind of lends himself to that with all the aquatic gods. He's like he's Aqua Conan. That's what Namor is at his core. He's Aqua Conan. So, yeah. So without further ado, let's dive into this book, pun intended, and talk about this series. So this, I think, is supposed to take place after one of the Jason Aaron Avengers run, where Namor was arrested after another failed sea attack from the sea on the surface world. And Namor has been punishing himself in prison. He's refusing to go back to the sea. But then along comes Stingray. Yeah, Stingray, the guy he brutally murdered at the start of the story arc. Which I was like, wait. Even like Stingray basically says, "Oh, you almost killed me, Namor, and I came to find you because I need your help." And I immediately went, he didn't just kill you, he ripped you in half, dude. I distinctly remember he didn't just murder you. He didn't like barely do anything. He straight up murdered you, Stingray. So yeah, Stingray's it's literally like that scene in Invader Zim. I thought Namor killed you, Stingray. Yeah, but I'm all better now. So Stingray basically goes to Namor and says, "Look, since you've been gone, these other kings that are now warring it out, and the world is calling it World War C." And they're all vying to be the new king of Atlantis, and they will march on the surface world. And the surface, the United Nations is basically revoking Atlantean citizenship, and now they're hunting them like dogs. So we kind of need you to fix this, Namor. So Namor begrudgingly has 4 days to fix the situation. And through it, he has to stop this war from escalating out of control. Along the way, Namor also talks about we go deeper into his origins and talk about like the lost early years of Namor as a child. Which, yeah, it's nothing big because we've kind of seen that with Jason Aaron's hat trick, right? We saw it in his Thanos book. We saw it in Punisher. We saw it in Thor. and also summon Conan. Like a troubled childhood for a troubled character, and also like he had a rough childhood, and that made him as a character of who he is. I feel like he's Jason Aaron's done this like 3 times. In fact, I know he's done this 3 times. That's kind of his go-to, where we have little alterations in the backstory, just enough to like solidify the character and also not like damage and outright retcon anything. Except the Thanos Rising book that said that death was never real. Speaking of other things, Aaron pulled this hat trick out of Namor. Like every time he talks to fish, it's really the god Neptune talking to him directly and saying like, kill everyone, take the throne, you are the king. So there's that. The comic is an 8-issue miniseries and actually packs a lot in the book. I have to be honest, like the series does kind of suffer from it ends a little too quickly at the end. But I will say, I feel like if this got at least 2 more issues, I think it would have been able to breathe better. But for what we get, it's actually pretty solid. And like I said, Jason Aaron treats Namor like Aqua Conan. That's basically what this book is. We also learn about Atlantean mysticism. There's also, like, again, Namor basically says, like, I'm not a hero. I'm just here to make sure the world, the surface world doesn't burn everything we ever held dear. And I really do like that. There is it's very sedentary too. We don't get any mention of the Avengers. We do get his time with the Invaders, but for the most part, this is a comic about this is all about Namor and him as a character and all the events leading up to this moment. We do get like his rogues gallery. We get like the Seaweed Man. Of course, we get a Tuma, Tiger Shark, Orca. We get a absolute amount of like love for the Namor mythos. There's also a Jaws reference. There's like a fun little there's a great little Jaws reference. In fact, there might be 2 if you look really hard, but there's definitely a solid one that made, like, I read that little paragraph and I was like, yeah, I know where that's from. And that was like a deep cut quote too for Jaws. So I thought that was pretty funny. I don't know if this comic's going to also the artwork in here is pretty solid. It does kind of fluctuate though, because I feel like they had 2 different artists on here. But yeah, sometimes you just have great artwork of like giant sea monsters and shit like that, and then you have like darker moments with like almost like horror story. All in all, the comic is a I don't know if it's going to dissuade anyone to make them go, oh yeah, I like Namor now, said anyone ever. But it always is a fun story. It's like if you want to see like a brutal like Conan Underwater-esque story. I know I've been making that comparison a lot, but that's basically what it is. I would highly recommend this comic. I think it is it's a very solid take on the character. I think it is a absolutely solid take on the character. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to make anyone like a Namor fan, but it's definitely worth a look-see. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below if you've read Namor, Last King of Atlantis. Let me know in the comments below. And Chris, thank you once again for this comic as well as others. And yeah, other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the multiverse.